Hi, everyone. Welcome to week 4 of class. I'm traveling this week, obviously. So do check the syllabus and our weekly schedule. Everything in our week 4 folder you've got right here that you'll need our schedule. So make sure you have that open. And then the World Cup Timeline JS assignment and the Timeline Essentials. So this week's a little bit different. We've done, game story work and, talked to some sports journalists. But now we're going to do a little multimedia project. This might be familiar to some of you if you've had my digital journalism class before. We've done a little work with Timeline JS. So this will be a little bit review for you, but there will be some good features to it that I think will be helpful. Timeline essentials. What makes a good timeline? You have to have a point in time or points in time. They can be spread over centuries, decades, years, months, weeks, days, even down to the minute or the second. I had a student once do a beautiful timeline on about 9/11. It was beautifully created. It was a horrible day, but it was beautifully created. And he had it down to the minute of everything that had happened throughout that day. I mean, it's just a horrific day, but he told the story as a timeline over those 24 hours. And then you have to have information and data about that point in time, preferably some multimedia about that point in time, a photo, video, a piece of audio. Google Maps can be embedded into timelines as well. Usually, journalists will use photos or video in them, but you can also embed, SoundCloud audio in a timeline as well. Well, what types of stories can you tell with a timeline? I've got some examples down here, just a few links here of examples, and I'll show you what they look like. We're going to work with a tool called Timeline JS. This is a timeline one of my students created on Prohibition. And they were doing a story on Prohibition bars that are still around in Chicago. And they did this little timeline. Some of the images are broken in it because they're older. You actually link off to the images. But they have, the time up here, a little headline about what was happening, an image over here. You can put video or audio in there too. Always credit it where it came from. And then a short paragraph that they wrote about that point in time. So you can see the timeline play out over here. Then the Civil War comes along, Prohibition, and all these other things that happened along the way to the 18th Amendment being ratified, the Volstead Act, and we were in Prohibition, and speakeasies started popping up around the city, and so on and so on. The St. Valentine's Day massacres, Great Depression, and then alcohol's restored, and hooray, everybody can drink again. So they went through, and this is more of a historical piece. Most timelines are, and they did a really nice job with it. This one was done in 2020, at the end of 2020. My students did a story on kind of what a weird year it was and talked to some, people about pop culture, things that happened during then. And, of course, COVID was the big story. And but it wasn't just COVID. It starts the year with Australia bushfires. Then Kobe Bryant died in the helicopter crash. Of course, the protests in New Delhi. Then the pandemic hits, everything shut down, unemployment. Pentagon released the UFO sighting video, very quietly during that. Murder hornets, that was part of 2020 as well, and they put some video up. Of course, we had the protests and the looters in Chicago in May, part of the George Floyd protests, more looting downtown. COVID updates throughout here as well, the homicide rate going up. So they kind of mixed some world and US issues along with the issues that were happening locally. Of course, it was election year, so they did a little thing on mail-in voting, Trump testing positive, Trump losing the election, and then ends up with the COVID cases. So, they did just 1 year in time. This is an obituary on Whitney Houston that was done, that was really well done. It's actually linked off the Timeline JS site. Goes through her whole career and has video of her singing and, a lot of different things up here. Some of these videos have crashed over the years, signing her first record label and then all the way up to, the point in which she passed away. So what we're going to do is a little exercise with Timeline JS. We're actually going to do it with some pretty prepared copy and resources, and then you'll kind of fill in the blanks toward the end and add your own multimedia as well. And you can even add some of your own slides as well. We're going to do it on the World Cup. World Cup soccer. It's a sports related one. We wanted to have it for sports related for this class. And you need to go to timeline.nightlab.com. It's on the assignment sheet and I believe on the syllabus as well, but timeline.nightlab.com, or you can just Google timeline.js and it should be the first thing to pop up. It'll look like this. It'll have a women in computing example up here. It's a good one to play through. And they'll have some other examples down here. Some of these have crashed over the years and are no longer available. There's a lot of them still available. The Whitney Houston one's right here. So people have used it for coverage of various news events on campus and so on. So to get started with it, you want to click on Make a Timeline and go down here. And this is the tricky part, is setting up. You do all the slides in a spreadsheet and they go across the line. Each line on the spreadsheet is a different slide. So you'll add the dates, the headline, the text, the image, the credits, and so on each row of the spreadsheet. So it's a good spreadsheet exercise too. So click on Get the Spreadsheet Template. You might have to click on it a couple of times sometimes. Make a copy. Again, you might have to click a couple times to get it to kick in, but it kicked over for me. And here you can see the basic spreadsheet that you work with. The blue row across the top is your opening slide. And then underneath it, you'll fill in each year with a headline, text, multimedia, just a link to a video or photo or whatever, map, whatever you have, media credit, who created it, and media caption if you need a cut line or something like that in there. Don't touch anything in the blue area up here where it says ASDF and title. You do not want to mess with that, but you can edit out background on these other slides. These are just basic examples, and you'll type over these. And if you look in Timeline.js, the content that's in here on these 3 slides also matches the content you see if you hit preview down here. And this is how you'll preview your tool or your project. And here's the various little posts. So it just slides right through. What you'll do is once you have your project published, you'll grab the link, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute, and just drop it in here, hit return, and this will be your published link, and then you can preview your project down here. Okay, so the hard part is next. We're going to make the timeline or the spreadsheet published, and you have to do a few steps here. The website walks you through them, but doesn't do the best job. So just kind of follow along with me once you have yours opened up. First thing we're going to do is we're going to add 10 rows. So go down here to the bottom where it says add 10 rows at the bottom. Change it from 1,000 to 10. You don't need to add 1,000 rows. I wouldn't do that to you. And most of these play pretty well with under 50 slides. We did one time on the history of the Super Bowl. It was around 53, 54 slides, and it played pretty slowly, but we got the job done. But anything under 50, you're fine on. And with this project, we're going to do about 10 or 11 slides, not that many. Okay, then you want to change your title up here and just call it World Cup Timeline, MR, and I always put my initials on it. Now comes the share steps. This is where it gets tricky. Hit the share button up here on the upper right, like you're sharing a Google Sheet or a Google Doc. And go into restricted and say anyone with the link can view. Okay, and then just click done. Okay, important step. If you miss this step, your slideshow won't work. The second step, and this is also required, is to go to File, then down to Share with, or Publish to the web, Publish to the web, and hit Publish. Click OK. And then see this link that pops up in this field? You want to copy that. So make sure you have a copy of that and hit Close. And then go back out to your Timeline.js. Delete everything that's in this field. You can just paste in your link hit return. You always know it's good if it says pub HTML at the end of it. That's a good link. This will be your share link when you go to post it to Blue Sky. Don't do embed, do the share link right under number 4. Now, if I want to preview what this looks like, I'll just hit preview and it kicks in my template here. And then go to our week 4 folder, and you should already have this open, World Cup Timeline JS assignment. And as long as you have this open, move mine over here, this gives you, the basic instructions. The training video that we're doing will be right up here. And just gives you some instructions on what to do up here. We've kind of covered it already. But here it has opening slide. It gives you a headline. And we're going to drop that into our first row because it's going to be our cover slide. So we're going to go over to the spreadsheet and go here where it says headline, and you hit delete, or you can delete everything out. A lot of times if you just hover over the outside of the thing, you'll you'll be able to delete everything by just hitting the delete button. And then I'll delete this section where it says text, and I'll paste in this body text right under it. Look back at 95 years of the World Cup. Exciting. It's got a great history. History of the Ramey Trophy alone is nearly worthy of a documentary. If you've ever seen the movie Monuments Men, it talks about how the Nazi Party tried to obtain a lot of very fancy pieces of artwork and also steal the Ramey Trophy. It was very close to being stolen by the Nazi Party. You'll learn about that when you're working here. So the credit will go in the credit section. Media caption will go in the media caption section, which is right over here. And just paste that in. And then we'll delete out media. And that's where we'll put the link to the image. It's a picture of Spain hoisting the Ramey Trophy in 2010. Spain won. Okay. And then we've got our opening slide. Now we're going to do the second row, which will be actually our first dated slide, which will be second slide, row 3. And this one gives you some dates, 7/16/1930 to 7/30/1930, which was the first World Cup played in Uruguay. So I'm going to go 1930 and then 07, 16 to 1930, 07, 07, got to get my dates right, 30. Now, you can even do these slides out of order. Like, let's say I had 2011 before 1930. It doesn't matter. The spreadsheet will be sorted by the software and put in the proper order, which is really cool because if sometimes you're working on things and, oh my God, I forgot a slide, it'll fix the dates and reorder them for you. So I put in First World Cup for that and for the headline. And then a very short one, the first World Cup was played in Uruguay. We don't tell you who won or anything because we want them to play the video. And so we'll grab the video credit, which is FIFA, and the newsreel footage, which is the caption, just describes what it is. And the source here is FIFA, FIFA. And paste the newsreel footage in. I'm going to delete out the link and put in my YouTube link video. YouTube videos work really well in here. You always want to check the links that I've given you to make sure they're still up. Sometimes they get taken down or moved or something, so you always want to double check them. So if you have an error, it's probably because there's a typo in the video, and it's a video that's since been taken down. But most of these I check them every semester. They're pretty good. So what you'll do is you'll continue to do this down each of these rows all the way down. You can have some empty rows at the end. The final slide is all your credits. So you'll just do the start date, end date. And this April date's fine. You can update it to a current date if you want. Project sources for the headline, and then under it, you'll just paste in these links so people can see where the information came from. I wrote all of these slides from this. So now you'll see it goes down to, I think, 11, 12 slides. Now you can add a slide or two if you want to. I purposely left out the Women's World Cup so you could do a slide on that. The first Women's World Cup was really a landmark moment for Title IX, which is a topic we'll be talking about this semester. When the U.S. women won it in 1999 in Pasadena, California, It's a big, big, big moment. You may have seen it before, news footage. There have been several documentaries done on it. So maybe add a slide on that, and maybe a more current World Cup, if you want to do Germany's wins, or any other big moments that you've happened to find in your research. So maybe add a couple more slides. I would recommend that. And when you're done, go in and make sure, and I do this usually every couple of slides, I hit that preview button again, just to make sure my slides are coming in. And as you can see here, you're getting history of the World Cup, and it's a good way to check to make sure everything's been updated. I'll look at my second slide, the first World Cup. It's got my video in it. It may not play in here. Let's see if it will. Yeah, it will. Sometimes when you embed these in here, they won't play until you actually publish the project live on the web. And you can go on, this is the example slide, so I'll fill that one in as I go. So you'll do all those slides all the way down to, you'll probably get it down around 13 or 14 with the extra 2 slides you do. Kind of check that preview along the way. Sometimes the page will cache and it won't show your new updates. If it does that and you're worried that, oh my God, am I doing something wrong? Why is it not updating? You can always get your share link here after you've gone in and looked at it, and copy that, and just go look at it on the live web, because it's on the live web as you're building as soon as that spreadsheet is public. And this is what people will see when they click on your link. And this is what it looks like live on the web. So once you're done with it and it's all shiny and looks good, double check and make sure it works. Put this link in and play through it. Don't take the timeline.js link up at the top up here, but take the one out of number 4, share link. Don't take embed, but take the share link. And play through it to make sure it plays okay. You've spelled everything correctly, because I do count off for typos and mistakes. Or if you put a bad link in there and it doesn't work, you're gonna get downgraded. So make sure it works. Then paste it into a Blue Sky post. Timeline and 95-year history of the World Cup. You can write something different if you want. Put the link in, it's really long. And then don't forget your UIC digital hashtag. And then I added a couple more: World Cup and soccer. People that are looking for it may want to see this. And then hit post, and make sure your your Blue Sky post is live on the web. And click on the link again to make sure it works okay. And that's what I'll be looking at when I go to grade it. So make sure that you've done that. One other thing with this, you don't have to post it in your Medium accounts. Just do it straight to Blue Sky. Make sure that you've done the work and posted it by Monday, September 22nd at 9 a.m. So you've got pretty much a week to work on it. Thursday's class on the 18th. I'll be back from New York by then. And that class will meet on Zoom. And I'll just be on Zoom hanging out. I'll help you with the timeline.js assignment if you need more help with this. It's due on Monday, September 22nd, 9 a.m. But I'll be on there to help you and answer any questions. Also, if you have final project, midterm project questions, and you want to talk, but please do log in. I do want you to be on there. It's not an optional thing. Just so make sure everybody's in good shape on it, since I'm doing this over a recording instead of in class, that type of thing. So this is week 4, and it's a very interesting one because you're learning to use multimedia and incorporate it into your sports reporting. We'll do story map a little bit later in the semester, which is a fun one. I will do some charts and graphics in Flourish. And then we'll get back into some of our reporting and issue-based stuff. And all these tools I'm teaching you along the way are very helpful in fleshing out sports stories. And these are things that can really help advance the storytelling. So I hope you have a good week. I will see you back on Thursday, and we'll see you soon. Take care.